Again, an interesting day. Yeah. Started off with loads of shenanigans and so on and so forth. There's been a few this evening. A few interesting druggings while I did meditation. You would expect that. Druggings going on while I'm making this video. Notions like total institutions and so on. But yeah, uh, after I did meditation, it sort of struck me that the local psychiatric unit, which I said had boxed itself into a corner by trying to set all sorts of ultimatums and all that sort of thing, had yeah, like I said, boxed itself into a corner. And my guess is that the Hollywood B movie mindset that was going on with that was that we can't now, we've got to really throw the kitchen sink at him, which they did. So we had the attempt, a massive attempt at the Easter holiday massacre, right? That fell flat. So what do you know? I'm on the phone this morning, old arguments and so on and so forth. Uh, they sort of set this up for themselves. Yet again, I'd pointed out it was obvious. It takes virtually nothing for these people to go running around rehashing stuff, and that's obvious to me, right? So I know it's so part of the fabric, the machinery, the like I keep saying, it's baked into the system, baked into the system, which is it sort of gives a new meaning to the term of the program, the Great British Bake Off. Anyway, yeah, uh, and like the way they were in meltdown when I left the ward. You know, by that, you know, I'm not stupid. I can see that stuff, and me figuring out eventually. Well, yeah, eventually, pretty much instantly. That's because they're crazy. I know what they were trying to figure out. You know, that's why I point to a time when I was at the coffee shop on the Worcestershire Hospital, where again there was a meltdown again on the basis of paranoia. This is the nature of things, you know. And as with Kath, they're not strictly like Kath. You know, clearly there was malice with Kath. Clearly there is not malice with these people. But as with Kath, they hold the power to define, the power to make meaning overriding other people's meaning, the power to set their agenda, their ultimatums. But when you know, this is sort of indicative of classic psychiatry, and why notions of empowerment pretty much break down when they're tested, sort of thing. Even though this ain't much of a test, if it's sort of buckling under this, then I have to wonder about the mental state of these people. But anyway, you know, I have mentioned today about you know, the type of things that that will probably take place. You know, for example, with sexual activity, they are going to try to make me go berserk or something. I don't know, with all sorts of notions. You know, I would like to engage in sexual activity. I would like to read books. I would like to watch YouTube, but you know, YouTube is anyway. But anyway, I would like to do yoga, for example. There's this app that they've set up. I'm sort of going to use it, even though you know, you just have to work around it, sort of thing. Like I've said about so many things, like druggings and Hollywood B movie type amateur dramatics that they attempted while I was fucking meditating. It's like, that's really old stuff, and I'm not going there. But that seems to present a problem for them. If they can't have these adverts, that is it. They've got to throw the kitchen sink at it, like they tried this weekend just past. Now, other things are taking place, like, for example, when I'm lying here, you know the type of stunts they can pull. I've explained them before, and like trying to regenerate magic keyboards. And I pointed it out. So what do? They drug me up. I'm not fucking going there again. Do you understand? Right? Conventional living. Eventually they will override that. We know that. That is the nature of architect power. Yeah? We know that. Right? They're cooking up all this, that, and everything. That is the nature of architect power. Eventually they will find a way to put me through those drugs they put me through in January. I'm sure. Well, I'm not entirely sure. But it's a distinct possibility. When I engage in sexual activity, they're going to try and, it suits the Hollywood B movie type dynamic, doesn't it? Even though it's complete bullshit. It's like, and again, I've referred to the absolute insanity of that's over egging it. But the crazy shit that was going on in the car park when I was on my way home, that type of scenario, they really do fucking think that they're really impressive methods. And I have to wonder, what have these people been doing for centuries with their disciplines? If this is how outdated they are, they do not keep up with the times. So, like, for example, when they start trying to play magic keyboards and watery eyes and all that sort of thing, they haven't kept up with the times. The type of things I've been talking about, really, over this weekend and so on and so forth, have pretty much been resolved quite a while ago. And yet, because they can't keep up with the times, and they never fucking will, they try playing magic keyboards. I pointed out, what do? They try to drug me up too. They're either making some big deal out of it or trying to double down on it, right? I ain't going there again. That is crazy stuff. Me, I want conventional living, right? But the extent to which they've gone, like I said, because I said, no, I want email because I know the state they're in. If you were in my shoes and you saw how they went into meltdown when I was leaving that ward, and you knew what was going into it and how fucking crazy it was, you'd say to these people, actually, you know what? I think email would be more advisable. You can't actually say to them, you're off your fucking heads, right? But, like, you've got carried away. You can't even say that to them. But you just say, diplomatically, I think email would be wiser. But like I said, they've boxed themselves into a corner where they sort of say, we are the ones with the power, which is sort of given to them by the architects. It's architect power that they're so heavily influenced by. Hence the Hollywood B movie stuff. Hence the amateur dramatics and the rest of it, and the ad campaign. Trying to draw people into it, sort of thing, which owes a lot to the type of vibe of the architects between 96 and 2000. But the meltdown, it is so fucking blatantly obvious to me how crazy they were yet again. But me pointing that out, like, for example, I pointed out about the crazy guy, the people the woman don't even know downstairs running up to her door to be noticed. Again, they will normalise fucking anything to keep their ball rolling. And whatever way they're characterising me, total crap. I'm not interested, right? I will get on with trying to get on with my thing, in the full knowledge that they're not going to accept it, right? No way. The way they've been running around me, no way. And setting up ad campaigns and Hollywood B movie amateur dramatics and position themselves as, in ways where I've got to adopt a subject position that owes a lot to the architects and the amalgam. And I'm not fucking interested in that, right? I want to get to conventional living. I want to get away from that crap. I said, yeah, emerged from that. So, well, it was pretty, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. The states these people get into, that they would try to put me back in that state of affairs. I could use examples over the weekend. But yeah, it became obvious after I did my meditation, yeah, they'd sort of had this melodramatic approach to me, saying I will engage with you over email. They boxed themselves into a corner where for partly for public relations reasons, they couldn't go along with that. They'd sort of boxed themselves into that corner, and so on and so forth. So we get, like, for example, today, even though I came out of the attempt at the what was it, the Easter bank holiday massacre. We get attempts at magic keyboards yet again, trying to regenerate that and make it go places. I'm not fucking interested. That's old stuff. That's amalgam type stuff. That's stuff the architects had come out with. That's stuff that the architects would inspire. I'm not interested in subject positions like that. And other ones as well that had, turned into some sort of version of Michael Jackson, for Christ's sake. I am not fucking interested. I want to get on with my stuff, and that's that. Trouble is, like I said, we've just had church bells ringing for a prolonged period of time. Now, for me, it just falls flat. But these people are coming out with it and judging, like I said, the way they went into meltdown on the ward, like they did at the coffee shop at Worcester Hospital. Again, they're two instances where they're off their fucking heads. But these people normalise that and then try to say, no, we'll get it right next time. They fucking don't. Right? So again, yeah. Today we're getting all manner of stuff, magic keyboards, for example, magic watery eyes and all that sort of thing. I'm not even remotely in that state, right? Not at all. It is possible, like I'm drugged up at the moment, it is possible to drug me up to suggest, to make it look like I'm in some certain psychological moods and mood states, right? Well, you just compartmentalise it. You accept they're doing this, let them do it. When you get the chance, you get a bit of time to just enjoy a bit of quiet time. I've been watching my own videos, really helpful, but really interesting that when I reject the ad campaign going on, the Hollywood B-movie amateur dramatics, the all the rest of it, the Middle Ages vibe that's to it, and they crack out the church bells, you suddenly start to think, well, are they actually going with this? Are they really fucking serious? And then you sort of realise that, yeah, the type of stuff, the meltdown they went into, the type of shit in the car park, that is crazy shit. But they keep on with that stuff. They're wedded to it. And that is an indication of why they got all melodramatic about me saying, oh, well, it's wiser, and isn't it, in that context, to deal with things in email, just by email. I'll just come out of hospital after 10.5 weeks. I'd like to take a steady pace. But no, we know. Like I keep saying, they had boxed themselves into a corner. They had sort of, yeah. There was a PR type element to them trying to throw the kitchen sink for some attempt Easter Bank Holiday Massacre that fell flat. And even when it fell flat, they still, gave me drugs to make me feel incredibly uncomfortable, which is sort of the stuff that I dig my heels in about. And then, which they'll only, like I said, whatever I say, they'll just implement architect power around it. But yeah, so it looks like I said before, they're going to keep going for things I'm not interested in anymore, right? Once I resolve something, once I make a decision on something, when I'm thinking with my own mind rather than the mind they try to dope the shit out of me with and condition me into, that they could do to anyone, really. I'm pretty, I know this is for the best, that's for the best, and so on and so forth. Like I said, The way they went into meltdown about something that was clearly paranoia, the way they went around the car park before pulled stunts in the car park as I was leaving. That I'd already established was fucking crazy shit, right? But they still fucking went with it, like all manner of other things, like again, magic keyboards. What is it? Oh yeah, magic watery eyes and stuff like that. They may have convinced so many people that their madness is normal, right? Don't know. And it should really be none of my concern. Architect power they will go with architect power to the hilt, right? That's just baked into the system. I tried saying this earlier. What do you know? After a massive attempt to throw the kitchen sink at me over the weekend, they then come out with more Hollywood type drug-ins, which they'll have to go with, possibly for the rest of my life now. Like I say, because they've boxed themselves into a corner, because they've built up so many big deal stories around me, and so on and so forth. Me, like I said when I was in the hospital, the amalgam years were the amalgam years. The architects were the architects. Fuck them. I'd rather just get back into conventional thinking, but because of the architects, because of the amalgam years, all this manufactured stuff that went on during the amalgam years, that goes on with the ad campaign, the PR campaign, the way the power works with amalgam power, the type of semiotics that's being chucked about, to try and build up scenarios and atmospheres and so on and so forth, to try and condition me, for example, in ways that it seems to me that quite a few times they sort of condition themselves into, a la the closing moments that I was on the ward, where they had all went again, hope and despair sort of thing, which they will always go ultimately in the end with amalgam power. I'll repeat, that is baked into the system. It has been from day one. And if you don't know that, how fucking stupid are you? That's just the way it is. Right now, starting to meditate again. Like I said earlier, interesting druggings around the meditation. Interesting amateur dramatics going on around me that years ago used to put me in a dreamy state. They don't now. I see them for what they are, right? Tacky amateur dramatics that are anachronistic and all the rest of it, right? It ain't going to go anywhere unless I'm brainwashed again, drugged up to the hilt, and conditioned to fuck, right? And we know how amalgam power works. That they will throw the kitchen sink at that too, possibly. They will never learn. If they can't learn from the weekend that just took place, right, to the point where I'm drugged up in bed to make me feel really uncomfortable in a really Hollywood B-movie type way. That's it. The shrinks on the ward should listen to me. We should talk, right? That's the sensible thing to do. It was a sensible thing to do in 2000. But they couldn't. They're already too in the grip of the architects and their mates. That's the way it's always going to be. I can accept that. I can accept that every now and again, as I am now, I am going to get drugged up. People are going to be performing theatrics around me, some big fuck off PR campaign, some big fuck off ad campaign about limited definitions of life and so on and so forth, and and all the rest of it, and people's crazy behaviour being normalised, up to and including the architects. I am gonna, they are gonna concoct whatever scenarios are the latest, greatest ones they're dreaming up this time, and that's just the way it is. Uh, no, I can accept that. I can accept that, and but also, I've got to make clear these people are incredibly anachronistic. They just have real difficulty with keeping up with the latest events, and how things really are going, and that is their problem. I'm not going to be able to sort that out because of amalgam power. I know if I, for example, not that I would, but if I was to turn on the TV and say, well, this is that is that, and so on and so forth, it'd still be stuck. It'd still be stuck with amalgam power. That is it. I don't know how many times I've got to say this today. But yeah. So yeah, like I said, they try to engineer really quick, which is sort of indicative of like the type of approach, even since the weekend fell flat, that they're going for magic keyboards, magic watery eyes that don't square with reality, and so on. And I point out these things. They then may get all manner of ideas, or may just be trying to double down on their techniques that, for me, do you know what? I just want to get back to conventional living, going for a coffee in town, coming back here, having something to eat, chilling out, reading a book. But there you go. And like I said, had there been real in this, like I said, they will jog me up to bring about some sort of Hollywood B movie denouement, or they will try. So it doesn't matter how I really deal with amateur dramatics they keep pumping out around the flat. Interestingly, the housing officer didn't get back in touch with me. I got in touch with the housing officer. Downstairs has been put up to leaving rubbish in around my bin, sort of thing. People leaving props in my bin, which is no big deal, but just struck me as a bit. But there you go. Like what I said on the wall to the one string, when one of the performers was putting on a big show. So it's going to be. If you don't think after, me walking through the car park of Tesco's, that they're pretty lumbered with it. They're pretty lumbered with amalgam power and the runarounds to try and normalise, and pretty bizarre stuff, and regenerate stuff like magic keyboards and magic watery eyes and all the rest of it. That I just, when I see it, I just think, you are fucking off your fucking ends. You are having a laugh, and yeah, like with the meltdown they had on the ward, and what led to it, like the performance, like the shenanigans that was going in the car park outside the psychiatric unit, and so on and so forth. This is. Is anyone seriously going to tell me that amalgam power could ever be dealt with effectively, genuinely effectively? Of course it can't. And even watching my videos that I did earlier, which are really good for me. Part of what I'm saying now is still a consequence of the weekend I've just had, and also the attempts to give me certain types of drugs where I do dig my heels in. You'd think if these people knew me and knew about conditioning and so on and so forth, they wouldn't try stunts like that. Too right, I should bloody double down. Not double down, I should dig my heels in about that sort of stuff. But anyway, like I said earlier about the about all manner of things. Like I said, they boxed themselves into a corner. They got all melodramatic, because I said, and on the basis of what I've just said, surely there's some people out there who realise, well, actually, he has got a point. It would make sense. It does make sense that he wanted to back off from those people a bit, because they may give a shit, but when it's like that, when it's people having a meltdown about something they've constructed that don't stand up, and didn't stand up the other time they pulled that stunt, You know, it's just and then the stuff going on in the car park and beyond. And the weekend we've just had where they got all melodramatic about the local psychiatric unit because they were trying to big it up in ways that boxed them into a corner. Cool. So, did I say earlier? I fully accept that I will be given substandard service by supermarkets, online businesses, and so on and so forth. I fully accept that whenever I go out and about, people will come out with crazy shit and PR ad campaigns. Amateur dramatics that owe a lot to Hollywood B movies and the rest of the 3 and 4 elements. I fully accept that I'm going to be drugged up at times and to have all sorts of mood states and psychological states and so on and so forth. That there are going to be attempts at denouements and rerun fever, possibly for the rest of my days, which could be another 20 years. There's not a lot I can do about that. There's not a lot they can do about it. They can do about it either. Like I said, if communication is that bad that they're in meltdown when I'm leaving the ward because, there's something, they set up something that really you must be fucking joking, aren't you? And then the stuff that was already discredited before they even pulled the stunt in the car park of the unit in Worcester that I was on. That's the way it is. Like I said, with magic keyboards and magic watery eyes. Anyway, this stuff's good for me. It's sort of, yeah, yeah. So, and magic church bells as well. I forgot about that. Belief systems propping up, co-opting belief systems that are off the back of a belief system that's got some sort of power, Amalgam power.